Hello all, here we go. We had Scott from County Golfer, world famous Lefty, in for a session. We used the BUll3d and the pressure mat, and this is just to give somebody the idea of how we use this, all this technology. Is it making the game more complicated than it needs to be, or does it make it easier to improve? So when this is the original one here, when Lefty started, he would hit some actually quite good shots at the start, but then he started topping it, and then when we got further down into it, he says that he really struggles with the thins and the tops. So we saw him hit a few shots. There's plenty of good stuff in there. And at full speed, and it's a little bit not super smooth, the camera here, but it's full speed, that looks pretty good. So why was he catching it thin? Well, the first thing we talked about was his concept, because when he hit it thin, he assumed that he was lifting his head. So what that meant was that he was trying to keep his head still and his eye on the ball. So if you know me, that's never a good idea to try and keep your head still. So we've just removed that one, and then we talked about the club brushing the grass after the ball and having the low point, the lowest part of the club's journey, just after the ball, not before, not underneath the ball, after the ball. So then let's have a look at the data. And let's look at this swing here actually before we do that. So this is Lefty, and that looks a different swing there. Looks very different. Let's do that again. That move there. So now we can start to really see why that move there, as it goes back over his left foot because he's a left-hander, that might not help you hit the grass after the ball. Going into a little bit more detail then, if we, without boring you to tears, the pelvis sway numbers. So this is the blue line, forget all the rest. This is the start of the swing, this is the top, this is impact, and this is the finish. And you can see that his hips were further away from the target as he hit the ball than when he started. So his weight was basically more over his left side. Comparing that to what we would tend to see in an amazing tall player would be a little bit more like this. So start the swing, they do some nice moves, then at the start of the back downswing the hips move towards the target, more towards the target, that's where there'll be impact. And what we're saying is in the region of, you've got to be careful here, but between 5 and 10 maybe centimetres, you can go more, you can go less, but somewhere in between there, that's where you tend to see the best players and good movement. As they hit the ball, their hips are about that much closer to the target than when they started. So we talked about that, we showed him that, we said you're here, we want to be here, and Lefty kind of got that. That made sense to him. Then we had a look at the pressure trace, and you can see that as he's this circle here is the centre of pressure, and you can see that it doesn't really move much on the backswing because he's trying to keep his head down so much. And then as he swings through the ball, actually at this stage all of the weight shifts back onto his left side. And ideally what we'd have it, the dot is on the backswing, move a bit to the right, then before the backswing before the downswing starts, it should move over to this foot and then hang over here until the shot's done, but it kind of jumps back onto the left side. That was quite easy to see then when we showed him the pressure moving back towards this is his back foot. Oh right, okay, I get that. So then we just put something out in front of the ball, tried to brush the grass. after the ball. Now can you see? Now this actually just delayed a little bit. But you'll have to trust me that that moves there a lot quicker than it does on the video. You can see the difference now where the hip is on the new swing compared to the old swing, and the ball striking was phenomenal. Here we're going into a little bit more detail. This is really for you golf geeks out there. So here was the pelvis movement on the new swing. You can see here, this is the blue line. As he starts the downswing, the hips move to the left at impact. Now he's 10 centimetres, that number there, 11 centimetres closer to the target than when he started. On the original one, he was moving 2 centimetres further away from the target. That's why he was catching the ground. That's why he was struggling with his contacts. With his hips moved over here, the striking was so much easier. So much easier. I'll just go and show you this fancy view here. So now if I just draw on a little line here on the hip, draw on a line here on the hip, take it to the top. Can you spot which is which? And there we go. Impact, hips 6 to 9 centimetres close to the target. Helps him brush the grass after the ball. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. And it's nothing to be afraid of, all this stuff. All these charts, for a lot of it, there was no need for him to look at. And we didn't even need to show many of these charts, but hopefully it shows the change there, there. And that's it. So that's a bit of an overview how we might go around it. We just attacked his, well, not attacked, but we talked about the concepts about impact, hitting the ball and hitting the grass. We deleted this idea that you've got to keep your head still, which is very, very common in the golf industry. And we brushed the grass after the ball, holding some lovely balance. And that was a lot smarter by the end of the day than this one, and then a little bit of a cheat just to try and get the weight through on the end. Thank you very much. Love to hear your comments and how you thought. Was that too difficult? Was it too complicated?